Hello, everybody, dear students. We are very happy to have our guest speakers for the month of September. We are thrilled to introduce to you Eduardo Baldioceda and Clari Vega, who are here with us today. Eduardo graduated from Lincoln School class of 94 and studied biology, ecology, and sustainable
Hello,
development.
everybody, dear
Is a
students.
mother, a
We are
wife,
happy to have
adventure,
our guests.
entrepreneur, and luxury real estate specialist based in San Jose, Costa Rica. She is also a part of the Lincoln family as a mother of one of our students in third grade and a 3-year-old daughter. Eduardo's love for nature and passion for sustainability and conservation led him to establish Chakra Retreat Center and Nature Reserve in the heart of the Chirripó Mountains. Both participated in one of the world's toughest races, the Eco Challenge Fiji, but 17 years apart. Clary was 22 years old when she participated in 2002, and Eduardo was featured on the World's Toughest Race, an Amazon original series that documented the 2019 event. They have traveled around the world, Eduardo as adventure guide and Clary as multi-sport competitor, visiting some countries: Argentina, Chile, Canada, Italy, Nepal, England, Thailand, Laos, Brazil, Iceland, and more. So with you, Clary and Eduardo, enjoy.
Sorry, do you hear me now? So I was saying thank you for the presentation. So as Katia said, I'm a proud mom of a 3-year-old and a ballerina and a 9-year-old Fortnite player. He asked me to say that. He's also a Lincoln student and he's present right now. His name is Alessio. I'm also an entrepreneur and I lead a real estate company made up primarily by women. Okay. What about you, Eduardo?
Okay, there. Awesome. Hello, everybody, and thank you for this opportunity. This is really wonderful being an ex-alum from my dear high school of Lincoln that saw me grow and run around crazy when I was a kid. Thank you so much for this amazing opportunity. Well, yeah, we explained a little bit, about how we kind of are here because of our passions and everything else. And I don't know if we're gonna talk a little bit about how we met, or we're gonna kind of go into what each one has done with their lives. But what's the order here then? Clary, do you want to talk about how we met?
So how we met, I think we met around 22 years old, years ago. We used to do adventure races here in Costa Rica and we got introduced and actually we raced together for a while. Um, so maybe I'm going to explain you why all this, what is Eco Challenge and how it came to our lives, okay? So as Katia said, I was actually 21 years old when the opportunity came to me. I don't know you guys if you know what is Eco Challenge. Actually, it's the world toughest race, and on this last year, Amazon made it a big television show. So it's an expedition against the clock, in which selected teams from all around the world race nonstop 24 hours a day across hundreds of miles doing kayaking, trekking, diving, canyoning, horseback riding, climbing, navigation. So all the adventure sports you can imagine, nonstop with 4 teammates. So you can imagine, I don't know, Eduardo, if you want to add on that, what's Eco Challenge?
So yeah, the sport of adventure racing is a complex sport. You might never have heard about it because it's really hard to televise this. This is one of the first times this has been done to actually have it on TV because it's so complex. There's so many sports that are involved in adventure racing, and you can't see it like you would see a tennis match or a basketball competition, right? Because you can't be there because we're in the middle of nowhere all the time, and there's many different sports. We do trekking, mountain biking, rafting, paddling, climbing, orienteering, navigation, kayaking, canyoneering, swimming, diving, jumping off cliffs, like you name any adventure activity, horseback riding, it can be included. And so because there's so many different elements in this sport, it's really difficult for people to be able to see this sport, and that's why it's very little known in the world about the sport. And thanks now to what Amazon is doing to kind of bring it to TV, now people are starting to see that this crazy sport exists. And well, Clari and I, like she explained, we raced together in our early years as adventure racers when the sport kind of started in Costa Rica. We were in a team, I think for like 2 or 3 years we competed together, and we were pretty successful nationally, racing against other teams in Costa Rica. And then we kind of parted ways. Clari did other races, and I continued with the national Costa Rican team and representing Costa Rica in other international races and whatnot. But that's kind of adventure racing in a nutshell. It's way more complicated than that, because if you think about a race where you go day and night, it's not a race where when the sun goes down, you go to a hotel and sleep. The race continues throughout the night, so it's day and night. So we rarely sleep. We like to tell people that we sleep about an hour a day. So in a 24-hour period, we sleep 1 hour. And the race can be, like Eco Challenge was 11 days. So you think about this, in 11 days, we would have slept an average of 1 hour per day. That might seem crazy because we all know that we love to sleep 8 hours in a day, right? And this is when, we're just doing normal stuff. Here, we're doing all these sports nonstop and then only getting 1 hour of sleep. And then you have to wake up, put on your wet clothes and continue, maybe without enough food and that. But then that's our passion. That's what we love to do. We like to be out there in the elements and just kind of take it in. It is a sport that is a team sport. So it's not about the individual. It's usually a team of 4. And the rule says there has to be a person of the opposite sex in the team. So it could be 3 guys and 1 girl, or it could be 3 girls and 1 guy, or 2 and 2. But there's that element where there has to be a person of the opposite sex in the team. And so that kind of equalizes the playing field for all the teams. And it also gives the team the sense of a woman. Women usually have a lot more sense than men, especially when we're out in the jungle. Men are usually gung-ho and they want to jump off of every cliff and do all kinds of stupid things, right? And women are usually more like, no, that doesn't sound like smart to me. I think we should go around this cliff rather than jump into the void, right? And so I think that's a really important element that balances adventure racing and makes it a little bit more safe than it would be. Anything else I left out of there, Clary, that you think is important?
No, I think you gave a great idea of what's Eco Challenge. Now, I wanted to share what was my experience, because even though we did that same race, it was a difference of 18 years. So I did it in 2002 and he did it in 2019, right? So it was different ages. I was 21. You were, how old?
44.
44. So it's different experiences. So I would like to share my experience of racing in Eco Challenge being 21. And after, maybe you can explain us what was for you being 44. Yeah. So in my case, the opportunity, as I said, it came when I was only 20 years old. It was actually the first competition was to earn the place to go to the race, since there was another woman there competing for the space at the same time. So I got to be the one lady to go to the race. And at that time, I was at the university, and I put a pause on my studies for 6 months to train for the race. And during that time, during the training, I got to see most of the Costa Rican national parks, from Corcovado to Talamanca, spending days inside the parks, sleeping only with hammocks and getting to know areas of Costa Rica that I just didn't imagine. It was such a great experience. I remember once being at the, and these are pictures of the Eco Challenge, and I'll get to that soon. But I remember, to tell you a little bit of my experience training in Costa Rica. I was in Talamanca, training with these persons, and I remember a cacique came and said to my partners, he said it in Spanish, so he said, esta negra no sale del bosque hoy. That's what he said. So imagine being inside of Talamanca during the night, training only with 3 guys, being only 21 years old, and hear this. So it was a lot of crazy experience, not only the race, but the whole training procedure. Also, part of what makes the races interesting is not only, one second to put this picture, is not only giving 100% of physical effort, but understanding how to deal with 3 other people, 24/7. People that think different, that smell different, that they are tired as you are, that they haven't eaten, so they are angry or they are mad. So part of that challenge is to understand how they behave, so during the race that won't be a problem. Actually, in this picture that you are seeing, the guy from the right, he was our former partner, and he is also a diabetic type 1. So part of the training was to get to know him and understand how is he functioning. Has he have been eating or drinking, and his sugar level is low and everything. But well, that's part of the race. Getting also, when we were going to Fiji, a couple of weeks before, one of our teammates, which is not in the picture, got sick. Imagine that. So we have been training for 6 months, and one of the teammates just got sick, and he wasn't able to recover before the race. So we were in Fiji, just 3 of us, without another former teammate. So this guy with the white shirt came and rescued. He was able to compete with us, and it was also challenging that way because I didn't knew him. I didn't knew how he raced. I just knew his name, so it was part of the challenge. And now I can say he's still 18 years after, still one of my best friends and former partners in racing. What else I wanted to tell you about the race? Now, we raced in Fiji for 5 days through tough terrains. Tough terrains on day 5, actually, and this was a very tough decision. We decided to retire since one of our teammates was feeling very bad. He wasn't eating, he had fever, diarrhea, and we just couldn't go forward. It was too painful for him. It's the middle guy. I don't know if you can see his face. It was like, I don't know how to say it in English. It was like halal. He just wasn't good at all. And it was such a difficult decision because in that moment, you think about all the time and efforts invested to get there. But at the same time, we were a team, as Eduardo said, and not an individual competitor. So we took the decision to retire. We didn't finish that race. Actually, in Fiji Eco Challenge 2002, only 10 teams finished the whole course, and 13 more finished a shorter race. The rest of the teams did not finish due to illness, injury, or exhaustion. So months after, One second. So months, days after, we realized that he had leptospirosis, which is a bacteria that you get in fresh water. And most of the teams that didn't finish the race got this bacteria. So it was kind of challenging. Yes, that was my experience being 21-year-old at Eco Challenge Fiji. What about you, Eduardo? I want to hear about it.
All right, so yeah, that's really wonderful, and well, the name of today's presentation is life lessons from Eco Challenge, and obviously Clari's example is perfect because she went to Eco Challenge when she was young, and what she learned from that race, I'm sure she
younger.
well, very young, 21, right? Like really young, and so. All those lessons clearly we might talk about that later. She has integrated into her life, and hopefully, you know, that experience made her life better and a more complete person. I'm sure that's the case. But in my case, it's been a little different, right? Because I got the opportunity to race at this, you know, dream race as an adult as well. I mean, you were an adult too, but an older adult, let's say. Right, I was actually 43. I was last year. So I'm gonna share with you something right now here that I want to show you. Give me a second. Let's do this. All right, let's see if you can see this now. Share screen. You see. Can you see that?
No, let me share them for you. Is that okay?
So yeah, the triangle, Clari, can you share that?
Sure.
Sorry, I don't know why it's not working for me, but all right, cool. So if you look at the at this triangle, I'm going to show you just so you know. What's up in my life now. So at 44, I'm an adventure guide. I travel around the world. I own a beautiful project and a conservation project. But if you look at my house, it's full of pictures of mountains, and it's full of objectives that my wife and I we climb all over the world, and we climb these amazing places. Like we've been all around. So this is clearly our passion, right? We're full of photos that all have to do with, you know, the mountains are calling me and all that stuff, and, you know, just photos everywhere of these mountains. And so this that you're seeing here, this triangle is a little bit like our Bible now. We kind of live constantly with this. And we're going to start at the bottom of the pyramid there, where it says general outdoor experience. Okay, and so I'm going to do a little bit of a comparison of this triangle and my personal life. Okay, so that big base that you see down there, the bottom of that triangle says general outdoor experience. Okay, so this triangle, the tip of that triangle, we're going to say is Eco Challenge. Okay, we're going to get there eventually, but first bear with me. Okay, the bottom of the triangle says general outdoor experience. As a kid, living in Escazú, you probably know where Escazú is, has big mountains. I pretty much grew up running around these mountains, camping in these mountains, going there, biking there with my friends, spending a lot of time, you know, getting comfortable at being uncomfortable, right? When you're out there in the bugs and it's cold and it rains and you know, so as a kid, that kind of gave me a really good base, you know, to be able to understand that being uncomfortable doesn't last forever, right? And that there's excitement in that too. Okay, so, you know, as a kid to about 15 years old, we can say that was that base. Okay, at 16 years old, I had a really cool experience. El Quas, he was an adventure addict dude, was brought to Costa Rica to film a show, and in this show, this super adventure athlete got to choose one person from Costa Rica to join him for a week of adventure activities. And I was so lucky, I was chosen. And I was chosen out of, like, I didn't have any skills. I was chosen because I submitted an application and my name was picked out of a hat. And so I got a week filming with this guy, doing all kinds of things. One of them was rock climbing, which I had never tried before, and it ended up being like natural to me. I fell in love with that immediately, and I understood after looking at Quas that second part of the pyramid that you see there, it says fitness, was really important if I was going to continue doing what I was falling in love, which was, you know, the adventures and the outdoors and you know, being out there and trying all these new adventure sports. So I started, you know, going to the gym. I started biking more. I took up surfing. I continued to go to the mountains and, you know, spend a lot of time in the mountains with my friends and everything. But I had a different mindset. Now I understood that if I wanted a life of adventure, I needed to be fit. You know, I needed to be physically able of withstanding this. So that was my second part of the pyramid there. Technical skills came later. And so this is kind of like the situation in which most of you students are now. You're getting close to graduating. Eventually, you're going to go to university, right? You're going to, you know, hopefully study something. So that's where technical skills comes in, right? Technical skills is a very broad part of the pyramid. In my opinion, it should be a wider part of the pyramid, if you will, because it has a very large scope. Okay, it's not just technical skills of how do I use a mountain bike or how do I use a rope to rappel down a waterfall. It has a lot to do with your education and everything else. And this is where my university studies really played an important part of my development, because I chose to study, as Katia explained, biology and ecology. And so that also put me out there in obviously national parks and in the Costa Rican wilderness a lot. So I spent a lot of my days and nights, you know, my thesis eventually was with jaguars. So you can imagine I was living in the most remote parts of Costa Rica, studying this mythical creature, right? And that gave me a lot of other technical skills. Along with that, once I graduated from the university and I started to work as a biologist, I had the opportunity of becoming an adventure guide. Why? Because I already had the bottom of the pyramid, the outdoor experience. I had the fitness, right? And now I had the technical skills. So that brought me to become an adventure guide, a guide that takes people out in the wilderness to do adventures. And it was also my passion because I studied to become a biologist. So now we have three different parts of the pyramid that are checked off, right? I now had a lot of technical skills from being an adventure guide. You have to go through so many certifications constantly, CPR, ropes, you know, all kinds of rescue scenarios, et cetera, et cetera. The next one in the pyramid is pretty complicated, the route specific experience. And it says route because this is for mountain objectives, but in life, it's going to be specific experience. And a specific experience refers to what you are looking for. For me, my passion in conservation brought me to buy a property in the middle of Costa Rica in the big mountains of Chiripo. And I created my project, which is Chakra Lodge. And we can talk about that later. But then that set me into where it says conditions. Conditions are waiting for the right moment. So I waited, guys, for over 20 years for the opportunity of Eco Challenge to knock on my door. And that's when I went to, Clari, can you put on the next one, the pinnacle one?
Yeah.
The top of the pyramid. Yes. The top of the pyramid is your objective. Okay, so in life, you're going to need to be ready before you tackle the objective. You can't tackle an objective when you're at the bottom of the pyramid. We need patience. We need skills. We need studies. We need life experiences, okay? And this is why I now can wear this, guys. This is my Eco Challenge medal. I was able to cross the finish line with the Costa Rican team because I had all those skills for over 20 years. I waited and I got better and better, and I was able to be the team captain to my team. And together as a team, we were able to finish the race. And like Claudia explained, a lot of teams dropped out of many reasons. right? And now I'm wearing this medal thanks to following this pyramid that you see there through my life, right? So in a nutshell, that's what brought me to Eco Challenge. All right, Clari,
Yes.
you want to talk about your life lessons?
Yes. So now that I look back, wait, do you hear me? Yes. So now that I look back, I can think of so many lessons from Eco Challenge, and I'm just going to mention some of that. One would be believe in yourself. That's so important. Believe in yourself even when no one else does, and don't give up. Imagine I was 21 years old. People were like, what? Are you gonna go without sleeping with 3 guys, you being a woman, you are a woman, into the woods? What are you doing? And I said, I believe in myself. I want to do it. I'm going for it. So that's just one example that I can think, but that's important. Believe in yourself even when no one else does, and go for it. The second is keep positive. No matter what, your attitude is everything. So you can, I put a note here, the only difference between a good day and a bad day is your attitude. So keep it positive. For example, in that race, when my teammate was feeling bad and he was sick, I could have taken the position of, I'm dropping this race, all my months of training and all my life training to get here, but I didn't. Just keep positive. Opportunities will come, and remember, your attitude is everything. Also, perseverance. And Eduardo said it. He has been preparing for more than 20 years for this. Okay, and to practice constantly is more important than to have skills. That's another important thing. I can be good at something, and I can have the skills to be a good mountain biker. But if I don't keep practicing and keep doing it, people that are more constant on it will be better. So practice makes the master. Try it, and try it until you succeed. And the last one, well, I have a lot, but I need to give some space to Eduardo. Teamwork. Work as a team and draw strength from each other. Together, everyone achieves more. That's so important. We used to try to do the things ourselves, but as a team, you will be better and achieve more. What about you? I have a lot, but I know you want to talk more, and we need some space for questions.
No, this is wonderful. I think you nailed some of the most important ones for sure. In my perspective, I'm going to say that my biggest lesson from the race and also in adventure racing in general, to me, the biggest one is to be humble. Humbleness is such an important trait for this sport, because like Clari said, you're going to be there with 3 other individuals. Everybody has highs and lows, as we all do in life. Good things might happen and really bad things might happen. And if you don't have that humbleness to accept that these things are going to happen, and that you have these other people there to support you, and be able to say, you know what, I can't walk right now. Take my backpack. Or I'm just so tired. Can you carry my bike? I'm so hungry. Can you feed me? This is humbleness, to not think that you are a superhero just because you're there. And humbleness is a really, really important trait in life. If we go back to that pyramid, it's that same thing, right? We need to understand that the humbleness is really, really important trait if you're going to succeed. And also, failure is part of success. We need also to be humble to understand that not everything in life is exactly as we would like it to be, right? In adventure racing, we see that all the time. Sometimes we think that the fastest route that we chose was the better one, and it ended up being the worst one. Maybe we got lost. Maybe other teams passed us because we made a wrong decision. There is success in failure, okay? And you need to understand that, because nobody likes to quit in a race. Of course, Clari didn't want to They quit. The team didn't want to quit, but they needed to understand that there was more important things than crossing the finish line for them. Like the health of one of their teammates was way more important. His life is way more important than any other honor that you might get from crossing a finish line or reaching your set objective. So to me, those are really two important ones. Clari really nailed the others. Teamwork is super important in life. Self-confidence, trust yourself, trust in the work that you've put in, and this is in life in general. You really need to trust yourself and trust in this goal that you've set. Goals can be anything from getting out of bed to graduating from high school or graduating from the university or whatever it is, right? So to me, those are lessons that I guess lived and relived and relearned from the Eco Challenge. But I'm pretty sure everybody wants to ask us questions about the race. I don't know if you've seen the show. If you haven't, it would be cool to see it. So I don't know if Katia, are you going to be the mediator with questions, or how are we going to do this?
Students, you can go ahead and write questions on the chat. Can they do that, Chris? Okay, so if you have a question, please write it on the chat on the side. And meanwhile, I'm very impressed with this conversation. I feel like I'm listening to a podcast. You have some great pictures there that show a lot of meaning. While people are thinking what they want to ask you, if you want to share those pictures there.
Sure. Also, I mean, I don't know. Well, yeah, that was a tough moment. I think that's in a similar setting as when Clari showed us her photo of her teammate. I think they were gonna quit at that stage. It was about halfway through the race. Everybody was struggling. You can see Gerhard, my teammate there with the yellow helmet. You can see his face, his expression. This was a huge hill, and this was day and night, right? So this kind of tells you a little bit of you can also see the size of our backpacks. They were huge backpacks filled with things. So very, very heavy materials that we're carrying on the bike. So that makes everything much harder. And then you can also see the team aspect of it. This is a really, really low point for us in the race. After having amazing high points, we reached a really, really low point. If you look at Veronica's knees and her legs in general, her legs are purple and her knees are filled with cuts all over. She had a huge infection that had set in, and we were waiting on the organization to tell us if we could continue or we were disqualified based on Veronica's body in general. She had a high fever. She was delirious at times. It was a really, really low moment because we thought the race was over, and this was about a day before the race ended. This section here is in the hardest part of the race for us, the toughest part of the race, and I think for most teams, if you watch the show, you'll hear about this section, the canyoning section, where everybody suffered. That water was freezing cold, and we had to swim through that water through the night from 6 p.m. in the afternoon to 6 a.m. in the morning. So we swam for 12 hours in freezing cold waters. And so most of the teams that quit Eco Challenge in this edition quit in that section. And this is when we were just coming into the canyon. We didn't know what we were coming into. We had no idea it was going to be that horrible. We were like super psyched and everything else. Things changed, kind of went downhill from there. This is our national team, Team Costa Rica, there right before the start of the race. What else do we have there? Okay, yeah. Any questions? Did anybody write questions? Can you see questions, Katia?
Or if you have questions, students.
Preguntarle todos entonces cuántos han participado en la lista.
Chris, do we enable microphones? No.
Well, does any one of you guys have a question, and maybe we'll answer some people's questions if you ask us something. Maybe Chris, Michelle.
I'll ask you something, Eduardo. How was crossing the meta? How was it?
Finish line.
The finish line.
It was super awesome. I don't
How
know
many
if we
days?
have.
How many days did you race?
So we raced for 9 days total. The course was open for 11 days. We actually would have finished in 8 days, but we were stopped on the afternoon of day 8 because some teams had to be rescued in the ocean leg. Do you have that other photo, Clari? That the paddling photo, maybe? Not sure.
No,
It was on.
no, I show it.
It was on the WhatsApp, but anyway, let me see if I can share the screen here and see. Let's see, can I share the screen? Here it is. There. So that's our last leg where we are paddling to the finish line, and so other teams had to be rescued in that leg because they had all kinds of problems, and so we were asked to stop and spend the night in an island in the middle of nowhere. And so that we didn't paddle at night, because apparently paddling at night was really dangerous, and the organization had to rescue some teams, and so we got a communication from the security boat to say you need to stop, you need to sleep. So we were forced to sleep, which was great, and then the next morning we did a shorter paddle straight to the finish line. It was awesome. Bear Grylls was there, and so it was a huge honor for us to see him wait for us at the finish line. It was a huge moment for us, an enormous celebration. So yeah, it was really extraordinary.
I have 2 questions. I'm receiving questions on my personal chat. Okay.
Oh,
So,
cool.
Rodrigo Recio, one of our PE teachers, is asking, how do you make up the team? What characteristics should the 4 of 5 competitors have?
That's a really good question. Yeah, I mean, clearly Clari's experience was very different to my experience, right? Because my team was made up of competitors for 20 years racing together, competing around the world, and so that kind of made our national team. In Clari's example, her team was passionate people that liked adventure, got together. Also, like she explained, halfway through, well, the other girl that was going to go couldn't go, so Clari took her spot, and then another guy got sick, and some other friend had to take his spot. So, that kind of, setting up of their team was very different to how we set up the team where I participated in, right? Because the team that I participated in.
Sorry, in my case, actually, what we did is we got this guy that was that has really good navigation skills. That's so important in these races, because they just give you a map and point A and point B, and you have to go from point A and point B with a compass. So to having someone that's good with navigation skills is very important. Also, since it's Fiji, what we did is try to find, and this did came because our fourth competitor couldn't do it, but a good guy in water, rafting and paddling, strong guy in that. And also it's important to have the medical skills to know what to do in case of emergency, okay? And usually most of the 4 teams have to have specific skills that will help the whole team also. I don't know if you want to add something to that, Eduardo.
Yeah, I just wanna show everybody. Can you see that? Let's see.
Wow.
Can you
Just
see?
that, you're given that, and just and they'll give you coordenadas. Coordinates.
Can you see that? I don't know what I'm sharing now.
See, we can see it. You have to go to point A to point B, C, just with numbers and a compass, and decide what's the best route. So
it's a very complicated thing, but yes, definitely you need a really, really strong navigator in order to guarantee. I guess you can see it there. There, you look at all the maps, and each one of these maps, you have to navigate yourself through these jungles, rivers, mountains, oceans, with no GPS, no phone, no technology whatsoever, only a compass and a lot of knowledge and skills, right? Otherwise, you won't get very far, and you'll probably have to be rescued, and you're out of the race. Okay. So that's a really, really important part of adventure racing, and it goes back to that same question: how do you make up a team where a team of 4, in this case it was 5 because we had an assistant crew. Most races you don't have that. Most races the 4 people have to do everything for themselves. In Eco Challenge we had one person that would set up our camps in between sections, and that was actually really great. But normal races it's 4, and so one person is going to be your navigator, your orienteer. This person has to have a lot of knowledge, right? And then the other 3 people obviously have to have all the skills that it requires to be able to compete and hopefully complete the objective.
Eduardo and Clari, there is one last question, and unfortunately we have to end this event, but the question is from Fadi, our junior. He wants to know if you would repeat this experience.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yay. This is my medallion.
Wow.
You guys have seen these. Pretty awesome.
We definitely want to learn more about you. We are so grateful for having you here today and having you shared your life lessons in such a genuine and authentic way. And it was very inspiring. I don't know about students and teachers, but I feel like very full of energy and adrenaline. And you were able to spread that here now for our next class. Everybody's going to go, you know, very excited. And basically, if you ask me, one of my main takeaways is there are no shortcuts to get the things that you really want. I think that the pyramid, the examples you gave, you know, attitude, really, we feel very grateful. And also, you took the risk of being virtual storytellers for our community.
That was awesome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome. That is also worth, you know, recognizing. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Let's keep in touch. We want to have you more times here with us. And thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just want to add, watch the show if you haven't watched the show. And Katia, also, well, I posted that story. Maybe they can read it. And it's a small story about the hardest part of the race for us. And maybe if they want to read that, it also gives them a little bit of insight.
Rica, right? Humans, what's the name of the website?
Humanos de Costa Rica.
Humanos de Costa Rica.
And the title is Persevera y Vencerás, which is what we've talked about.
Nice, nice.
Thank you,
everybody, and thank you for Mr. Cummings and Miss Lamp for being here with us, also supporting the command center.